Okay guys, welcome to CTIR or D. I just want to highlight a few things of what we did with the residential students on chapter 3. So this is not going to be a very long video, but it's just a basic introduction to chapter 3. What I want you guys to do is to read through this chapter for me and just highlight the most important factors that you could get from this chapter that you can apply to your relationship with all the stakeholders and the innovation and how important the stakeholders is. So I want you guys to do a bit of a write-up, not too long, not more than a page at least, or at most, but just to highlight a couple of things that stood out for you personally in this chapter. So I'm gonna open a portal underneath the informal assessments, Turnitin report, and then you guys can just submit it by next week Wednesday. So I'll also just make an announcement for that. So please make sure that you guys are able to download the book and actually have access to chapter 3. So okay, so this is actually something just to promote and to get you guys actually on it, to get your books downloaded and actually put some effort into that. Okay, so going right into the chapter, and this is the same as what we've done in the previous in the workshop. So you will see that we've got a bit of an introduction. A couple of things which I just highlighted is the saying of Hennian, who says beautiful things only offer themselves to those who offer themselves to beautiful things. So innovation is very much the same. If you are not open for new things or actively looking at things, you might not recognize it. So it's in that light. Then the other definition that also assists with innovation, describing it, is the concept of innovation is a concept that is commonly used yet hard to define meaningfully. We effortlessly think about the concept and seldom think about it. What it basically says is it's not a tangible thing. Innovation is really relative to the times. I mean, sometimes if you think about the development of plastic, it was a big thing, but nowadays plastic is becoming a problem. Now that new innovation is not really relative to, or is becoming a bit of a health hazard. So now one has to think a little bit out of the box, and one has to apply what is best at that time or this time, going for, in this example for instance, to a paper bag system, or developing a recyclable plastic bag or so. So it really depends on your times, and so sometimes it's not really tangible what innovation is. Innovation, just a third point, entails the reconfiguration of already existing elements. So we've talked about that extensively, but this specific chapter is where the recombination takes place, or taking place, and with what implications for the elements being combined. So this chapter questions where is the recombination taking place, and with what implication for the elements being combined. So if you remember, chapter 3 is all about the case study about designing the most accessible building. So and the guys that actually did the design had to get rid of some ambiguities, and for them to actually get a proper design out there. Okay, so a few concepts that was highlighted, or definitions given in the chapter as well. In the dictionary terms, innovation means to make changes in something established. Okay, the second definition on here is innovation is is the successful exploitation of new ideas. Okay, that's another concept. And then innovation entails searching for new ideas, selecting the good ones, implementing them, and capturing the value in the market. It implies achieving something new by rationally selected means of procedures. So you can make it a little bit more tangible, but it has a certain amount of dreaming involved in it. So that is basically what we've got. We've got the contrast of it not being tangible, being a dreamer, thinking about Star Trek and Back to the Future and all of those items, which were basically just people's dreams that in many instances, actually most of the items in those movies actually became new technologies, and is today some of the items are actually used. Okay, then the chapter highlights a couple of concepts. The most accessible building. So like I said, this is what the chapter is all about. It tries in defining the meaning of accessibility. Is it about equality? Is it a universal design? It highlights certain challenges that they experience. Is recognizing the quality of informed design, and the value of the design is only proven once the building is used. So it's only tested really when the building is being used. So knowledge of packaging and innovation, the constraint between dreaming and being rational. So that's what I said earlier. This is why what this chapter looks about is being innovative doesn't only mean being a dreamer. You have to create something which is actually usable by everyone. The term value comes to mind again. Okay, then just a couple of conclusions from this chapter is first, the people had to consider the relationship between the design task and the eventual building design, answering the client's needs. Okay, that was one requirement that they had to think about. The second, they had to consider the relationship between the building and the future users. After the building, the first tenant's lifespan, for instance, after 20 years, we will occupy that building then. Consider the relationship between the design task and the designers. Okay, in the end, the professionals had to become amateurs to allow them to design a building where people could help themselves instead of being reminded of their disability. Okay, they had to work on not being biased. In this case, only thanks to the unusual bargaining power of the competition jury of a few initiated and interested clients was a fundamental initiative design of accessibility given a chance to survive. So basically, the biggest thing is the client played a big role in actually giving the designers the free will to look at new innovative ways to design the most accessible building. Okay, then I want you guys to please look at this video. It's a YouTube video. I've highlighted where you can actually access it. It is that video on the house that that the guys in America designed, and everyone said no, it's not impossible to build. I want you guys to have a look at that, and you can actually take some info from this video and use it in your write-up. Okay, and that's basically it. So very short little video, but I hope it assists you guys with the little informal assessment that I want you guys to do. Thanks.